Allowing any twitches and sensations of release to happen in your body. And on each exhale, releasing any thoughts, any distractions, any energies that don't serve you, anything prior to now, just releasing that energy from your body out toward the earth or out into the atmosphere. And on each inhale, deepening into your center, deepening into your body. Again, on each exhale, relaxing, releasing any stress, any worry, any energies, thoughts, beliefs that don't serve. And inhaling deep into your center, whether that's your body or your heart. And I'd like to invite you to ask yourself, what do I need to let go of right here, right now to be present? What do I need to let go of to be present here? And what am I calling in? What am I calling into my body, into my being? Really feel it, really welcome in what you would like to call in. And feel it in your body. And as you feel it in your body, I invite you to spread it out into our container. So perhaps if you're inviting in a quiet mind and an open, curious mind and heart, what would it feel like to have that? And how can you spread that intention out into our field of energy, into our container? And perhaps even spreading that longing, that desire out beyond our container, out into the world. Bless us that we may open our hearts and open our minds to new ways of being and living that are aligned to love and compassion, harmony. Bless us as we go through our evening, that we may be gentle and kind to ourselves and to each other. And bless us that we may see every challenge, every stressor, every judgment, every part of our pain body, anything that we're going through, may we see it as an opportunity to grow, to love ourselves and each other ever more fully, and to become ever more compassionate and curious. So again, inviting us to anchor into the earth, breathing a couple deep breaths, coming into connection and solidifying our container with a beautiful Om. So let's go ahead and inhale and exhale, release on some sound. And inhaling, releasing on an Om. Shaking our bodies out a little bit. Coming back in gently to our container. Welcome everyone, and I invite you, if you'd like to, just again to put in the chat box your name, perhaps what you are calling into our container, and anything else that you'd like to write in the chat box. Welcome everyone, it's good to have you here. And Scott, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you.
Thank you, sweetheart, for that beautiful meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I did feel a little self-conscious oming where I am, which is in the middle of a Walmart store. But
Yes.
nevertheless, I did om as people passed by. And I wanted to be here for the beginning of her call. I'm actually close to home, but I was shopping and realized I wasn't going to make it home in time for the start. Because I just want to acknowledge how I've learned from Emily about the power of self-sourcing and the power of self-care. As most of you know, we've been together for over 4 years now. And early in our time together, she had just moved into the house with me. I heard this strange sound in the backyard, and my dog barked, and I ran up onto my deck, and I looked down into our backyard, and there's Emily pulling what I later learned were imaginary arrows out of her back. And she was making these incredible sounds. My dog is kind of looking at me like, Dad, should we do something? And I didn't want to disturb her experience. Well, what's interesting about that, and the reason I pointed out, is that Emily processes life faster than any human being I've ever known. You know, she sometimes might cry 10 times in the day, but she's also probably enjoying life more consistently than anyone else I know. Because her self-care is so high, her ability to self-source is so significant, that whatever happens, whatever comes in the field, she processes it really quickly, even if it means going into the backyard and pulling imagined arrows out of her back. And being in a relationship with her, we, of course, there's times we get triggered. And I used to always pride myself on how I could, get past my triggers way faster than anybody else. Not now. If Emily and I get triggered, within 5 minutes, she's like laughing and she's like, come on, are you ready to, connect again? And I'm still like, no, I'm mad. I'm triggered. How dare you not be triggered with me? I'm still kind of that Grinch mode, right? And she's like, okay, honey, let me know when you're ready to have fun again. And it's not that she's stuffing. She's not bypassing her feelings. Again, she might cry 10 times in a day, but she's learned how to be real with what's alive inside of her system and to manage it on her own, which actually is another thing that bothers me because I always liked being with girlfriends that I could rescue and fix and save. And Emily never needs rescuing, fixing, or saving. So I've had to find other ways to maintain her attention and keep her amused. But it's actually incredibly healthy. And that's why she doesn't go into codependence, which is a really cool thing. So tonight's a really wonderful, brief introduction. I encourage you, we're recording this and we will make the recording available, so you may want to watch it over and over. And if you want to go deeper into what Emily's teaching, please join our Relationship Essentials course that starts on Saturday. But with that, Emily, I'm so proud of you, and thank you for being so generous with sharing the tips, tools, and practices that you've spent your entire adult life developing.
Thank you, Scott. Love you.
I love you too,
You're
baby.
amazing. So I guess I want to just start it off by first saying that I really do believe the most important thing that you honor and take good care of yourself. That really is, when people come to me, I really say that is really, if I could teach you anything, it's really how to fully honor and love yourself and figure out what you need and how to best take care of yourself. And that is so individualized for each of us. And it so goes against our programming of what we've been conditioned by. A lot of us grew up, well, it's better to be generous or be considerate or take care of other people, or even just the programming of being in survival and having to just like take care of work or manage to, be at work so I can make enough money to survive. And there's just this constant inundation of having to survive or having to take care of others or having to do to prove my worth. And so much focus on the external world and the external reality that it takes a lot of delayering and deconstructing to really come back to, again, the importance of myself and honoring myself, loving myself fully. If you see children, I love to say that they are our perfect models for how to be in our authentic truth and expression. If you look at a child, they don't run shame, they don't run judgment. They are totally in their authenticity. If they're angry because they don't have food, they're going to get angry and they're going to pound, and they're going to cry and they're going to wail. And they usually will release that energy fully, and then they'll be totally in the present moment with what's next. Wow, cookie, wow, am I getting my way? Ooh, doggy, and it's just so beautiful because they make sounds naturally. They coo, they whine, they yawn, they burp, they belch, they poop, they run around like like, I have to say, Krishna, he has 2 kids in Australia, and I've just seen the way that they release energy. They're these youngins, and it's amazing just watching them. And so what happens is we eventually learn what's okay and what's not okay, right? By our parents, by our external reality. And then we craft a very sophisticated image or orientation so that we can be loved or accepted. And so we disconnect from what's authentic in ourselves. And so this is a powerful opportunity for I guess I just want to help you all reclaim your needs, your expression, the sounds in you, your feelings, your yawning, your like contortions in your face, the images that come up in you, the textures, the colors. There's so much here in our experience. And the more that we can, again, allow it without judgment, and it's okay if we notice the judgment, again, how can we notice it? How can we name it? But how can we not how can we not give our power away to it, right? Making ourselves bad or stupid or wrong. And then when we do that, we stuff it, right? It's not okay to feel this. It's not okay to be that. Oh my God, that's weird. Oh my God, what are they going to think? Like, if I make that sound, how am I going to be judged? That's all perfectly human, like, responses that we're unwinding from. So I guess what I want to say to all of you is, on this call, I welcome everything in you. I welcome what comes up in you. I welcome your feelings. I welcome your expression. I welcome the truth of what you need. And I want to say that that is a priority, that is important, and it matters. I really want you to take it in. Like, I could cry saying that. Like, everything that happens inside of you is important and it matters. And it's like deserving or desiring expression. And I just want to help make it safe for us to be authentic and be ourselves as much as possible, like we were, almost like returning to innocence. because that, I would say, the return to enlightenment is the return to innocence. I really do believe that is returning to our authentic expression for all the parts of ourselves, all that we are. And I like this quote that Scott says, is that God wants to experience everything possible through us. God, Great Spirit Source, wants to experience everything possible through us. That's powerful and gives us permission to like make it all perfect. So let's take a deep breath and just exhale and release on some sound. Just noticing as you hear me say any of that, what's coming up in you? Are there ways that you have made your expression wrong? Are there things you want to celebrate about yourself that you're reclaiming? And I invite you, if you'd like to put anything in the chat box, if you feel inspired by anything or anything's been coming up for you, I invite you to share that. So, stress and overwhelm, it's real. And when we are stressed and overwhelmed, we go here. We go into our reptile brain. And it's just a very old part of ourself. It's the first thing that formed in our during our conception. And again, everything is built around the reptile brain. And so when we're stressed, when we go into overwhelm, it's immediately the first thing we do is we go into that fight, flight, or freeze response. And what happens is immediately our brain is so intelligent, it floods hormones of cortisol and adrenaline, sending the signal out to our body, flooding us with blood to, again, to our extremities so that we can either flee, we can fight, defend ourselves, fight back with words, and or freeze, just like go into paralysis. And so I want to talk a little bit about the biology, like we've been talking about the biology. There is a vagus nerve that runs from your brain. And this, I learned this from, it's a theory called polyvagal theory. There's a vagal nerve that runs from your brain down into your heart. And again, fills your heart when you get into reptile brain, fills your heart and your lungs with blood. And then there's a vagal nerve that runs down to your belly that fills your belly with blood. And so often when we're stressed or in reptile brain, you'll hear people go, wow, I feel like I've been punched in the gut. Or wow, my heart feels really contracted or shut down. And or my lungs feel like they're caving in, or you'll literally see people kind of contracting into these spaces. Or again, if you're in the fight response, it's like, I'm fucking ready, like I'm gonna punch something, and you notice this like experience of, again, coming like out into your body, into a fight response. So what I'm going to be doing is an exercise where we're going to be, again, soothing our vagal nerves, soothing the fight or flight response. What happens when we go into fight or flight is our autonomic nervous system goes into a parasympathetic state, which again is the fight, or freeze response. What we want to learn how to do is, as quickly as possible, recognize when we're there, when we're triggered, when we're in that place. Sometimes you'll notice it, again, from like huge reoccurring thoughts that are like of judgment and pain body thoughts. Moreover, for me, I start noticing it a lot in my body, like the pain in my body, the contraction, the queasy stomach, the sick stomach, the warning signs that I'm in a parasympathetic response. And how do we get back to homeostasis? How do we go into a sympathetic response, which is the hypothalamus going, wow, I'm ready to go into resting and digesting mode. And that's moreover when we can live our life from that place of a sympathetic response, calm, centered, relaxed place. Life becomes more wonderful. We feel better. We, again, can interact from a place of much more ease and connection, compassion. And so I guess what I was wanting to do is just tell you a little bit about the actual biology of the vagal nerves, the fight, flight, or freeze response. And now I'm going to be taking us into a actual exercise of, again, being able to soothe our vagal nerves and soothe our nervous system. Nice. Just looking at the chat box. Probably can say beautiful. So I invite you to close your eyes, and I'm going to take us through about a 5-minute exercise. And I'd like to invite you to think about what is stressing you in your life. What's overwhelming you? What is something that is bringing you stress, irritation, overwhelm? And I invite you to breathe into that experience. Breathe into the experience. And I invite you to welcome what it is. Welcome the thoughts about it. Recognizing that that's what the mind does, is create stories and thoughts and projections. And I invite you to welcome any of the feelings. Breathing into the feelings. Welcoming any and all sensations. Even naming them, wow, jagged sensation, irritation, contraction, confusion. Allowing your experience. Even accepting whatever's coming up. How can I accept what I'm feeling? Can I accept it? Again, welcoming anything in your body that might be moving or twitching or releasing. Allowing yourself to breathe deeply into whatever's arising. And I invite you to put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. And I just invite you to feel this connection, feel the touch of your hand on your heart. Feel the touch of your hand on your belly. Seeing if you can welcome in some softness, some love into those places. Breathing. Ooh. And I'm going to invite us to do 2 sighs of O into our belly. So we're going to inhale into our belly and just release on an O. So inhale in your belly. Oh. And just allow your belly to shake, any energy to release. Again, inhale and release on an O out the belly. Oh. Letting the energy to move freely in and out of the belly. Whew. Tuning into your belly. Asking your belly, what does it need? What does your belly need right in this moment? Welcoming any and all sounds, voices, images, memories. And how can you welcome in what your belly might be needing right now? Oh, maybe some loving reassurance. Maybe some loving touch. Maybe some gentleness, compassion, nurturing. Oh. Mm. And feeling your heart, feeling your other hand on your heart. And we're going to take a couple deep breaths and just release on an ah. Any energy that wants to be released or expressed or let go of. So let's go ahead and inhale and release on an ah out our heart. Inhaling. Welcoming any release, some shaking, allowing that energy to move, shake out our heart. Again, another inhale and a release on an ah, inhaling. Allowing that energy to disperse and be released, to dissipate out into the earth or into the atmosphere. And asking your heart, what does your heart need right now? What does my heart need, long for, desire? And how can I welcome that in right now? Ah, breathing. Ah, welcoming any and all possibilities, loving words, loving touch, any image or memory that might feel nourishing. Welcoming that into your heart. Ah. I'm going to end with some affirmations, and I invite you to welcome these affirmations into your body, into your being. I'm going to say them, and I just invite you to welcome them in. I am safe. Ah. I am protected. Ah. I am love. Ah. I am loved. Breathing. Ah. Asking yourself if there's anything that you need in this moment to feel complete. Giving yourself that. Ah. And bringing some gentle movement in your body, coming back in slowly. So again, this is a beautiful sympathetic state. And I just invite us to see if we can hold this space as we come back into connection with each other. Ah. Ooh. Welcome back, everyone. Hi. Love you all. Love you, Paul. Love you, Molly. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. I would love to open it up into group shares to see if anybody would like to share if they noticed anything that came up for them, if they particularly felt something that they want to acknowledge, and or perhaps a tool that really they found useful. So maybe if you could just raise your hand if you'd be willing to share. Brownie points to whoever would like to be the first person. Lusana.
Um, I was unfortunately kicked off Zooms, so I missed a half hour, but I had been on during the first meditation, and I came into this meditation. And for me, that was very helpful to have it go slowly. So whatever you did in the middle of it, which I will watch later, it was very, very helpful to slow it down, to just really be focused on my body experience, on the breath. Yeah.
Nice. I can imagine too what it's like when we get kicked off of something and we want to be a part of it, and then we come back in. And I know I get really triggered around technology, really triggered, and especially when I'm a part of a container and I feel connected and then I disconnect. And so but I'm really hearing, even though you came back into the meditation, the slowness and the energy maybe allowed you to be able to reconnect in a way that felt soothing or comforting or perhaps welcoming.
Yes, I mean, I actually have sort of put aside my reaction to being disconnected and all that shit. Pardon my language. I mean, I just decided, like, okay, I'm not gonna deal with that now. The pace
Mm-hmm.
was soothing, and so yeah. I mean, I'm not. I'll how do you call it? Unpack it later. Yeah, I will unpack my reaction later, but I'm very interested in seeing what you are offering today. So thank you.
Thank you for being here. Anybody else like to share? Molly.
Thank you. So I noticed when I was moving into the heart space that my heart actually said, among other things, but I want to be seen. And I think, Emily, something I so appreciate about you is just your radical authenticity and just being so vibrantly you. And I also believe that that's a space that I'm really moving into or wanting to. So I kind of courageously put my video back on, even though I was kind of moving in ways that might be perceived as strange and doing some sounding that might be strange. So that I felt courageous, and so I'm celebrating that.
Thank you so much for coming out and being seen.
Thanks.
Thank you for turning back your video on, and thank you for speaking, and thank you so that we can see you and feel you. And I'm really hearing that you're longing to bring more of that out in you, like your authenticity and your expression. And thank you for your vulnerability. Like, yeah, I turned off the video, so people wouldn't have seen me swaying or moving or perceive that to be strange. And I just really want us to, again, find the balance with our authenticity and expression on being considerate on other people. Like, that's beautiful. Like, where is there a time and space? Like, what's around me, right? And also, how can I still take care of myself and be myself regardless of where I am and who I'm with? You know, it's like that balance of consideration and really, like, so for example, when I'm in a really public space and I can't really yell or like move, shake, or what I'll do is I'll imagine my body like shaking out my arm. Like, I'll just like shake, or so I'll start twitching like my hand like this. And or I'll just start like, I'll be emoting or releasing energy, but in ways that where I'm maybe not as much of a distraction. But I'm still with the present sensations, or I'll imagine like tubes of energy, like fueling out energy in my neck. Like right now I have a lot of pain body in my neck. So I am imagining like tubes of energy, like kind of sucking that energy out right now as I'm talking to you. So there's just like, what do you need that you can experiment with in your self-care, even when you're in the store or even when you're just like on this call? And just really getting curious about what that is, and experimenting. Like the word that comes forward is like, how can I make my life a laboratory of exploration?
Mm.
You know, and like really honor whatever that is supportive to me. So any other shares? Anything that came up for Sevan or Apollo?
Yeah. So today, from like the time that I woke up until the time that this started, I kind of talked about a little bit in the chat room. Like, I found myself just like spread so thin of like connecting to other people's energies. Like this morning at 4:30 a.m., I went on the most interesting first date ever to see the red moon on top of a mountain. First time meeting at 4:30 in the morning, and I found myself like it felt really good, but I also in that sometimes like in loving others or connecting with others in these like really beautiful settings or at dance or at the workshops. I love it so much, but I also sometimes, not always, but I sometimes lose myself in it all. And having the moment to just kind of close my eyes and get reconnected with myself, it feels like a very like private, sacred space that's like really just mine. Like, this is my space, this is my energy, my body, and I deserve to be with me, even in a group setting like this. So that was just really beneficial for me to like reconnect with my heart in that way. So thank you.
Yay.
Yeah.
It's really important, especially if we care for people or we're providers or healers. Often the focus, again, the energy is very focused outward. And even though we get so much from that, often we feel like loved, or we feel a sense of contribution, which fuels us. That balance of really going, how do I truly drop out of that mode and fully give myself what I need? You know, like I want to appreciate you at dance. Sometimes I see you at dance going and just like literally sitting against the wall, like, and just like grounding. And I'm imagining sourcing yourself back to like that earth connection. Like I'll see you supporting yourself back against the wall. Again, self-sourcing tool, right? Grounding, connecting, closing my eyes, bringing the energy back home to myself. So I just wanted to acknowledge that I've seen you sourcing yourself at dance. Any last share? Anybody feel compelled to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged? Caraway.
Okay.
You're unmuted.
Okay, thank you. I just loved that you had us ask our belly and our heart what it needed. And with my heart, there was a really clear one. I'm just really grateful to have been able to hear that. And it was just, I want to be physically engaged was what came up in my heart. And as you were just talking with Sivan, I was also thinking about how we create space for these parts of ourselves that are so intimate and so much ours. And I was thinking about all the things that I make space for in my life, like, you know, cooking good food or making sure my chores are done, and like just starting to envision like creating a space for what my heart asked for, and like having that be something that I plan into my life as a necessity instead of just a luxury. That's kind of what's coming right now.
Are there ways that you have seen that you, based in necessity, have again, maybe those things that were actually, that you sacrificed were more of a necessity? like certain parts of yourself or that you maybe considered luxury, are you seeing them
Yes.
that maybe
Yeah.
they are necessities?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I think that that's true. And I think that's why my heart has that really strong longing for that physical engagement in my body, because with my schooling and just how life has been, it just seems like I'm always putting that as like something I do, but it doesn't get that much time, or other things take precedence, or it just doesn't seem like I have the luxury to do it. But I'm really seeing that it's not really a luxury. Like, it's something that is a need, or I need food. um,
Yeah,
and yeah, just like learning to listen to that more and to prioritize it more and give it the space more. And
beautiful.
I was getting some ideas of like things I do that would give my heart that feeling, and sort of why I love certain things like yoga. I think it's because it gives that engagement, not just to my body, but to my heart as well.
Mm,
Kind of that the heart as not just like an emotional part, but a physical emotional part, I guess, is what I'm feeling right now, is that it needs to experience life through the body too.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
I love how, before we ever used communication and words, we were so in touch with our bodies. We communicated through what we sensed, our intuitive nature, and how our society and our conditioning has really turned us away from that. And
Mm.
in a lot of ways, I think what brings us back to that is our pain,
Mm.
is our discomfort. I know for me, like, it was like it's this it wasn't like I was just brought to these tools because I thought self-care was awesome. I was brought to these tools because I had pre-cervical cancer. I've had issues of pain all my life in my body. It's been hard to be in a body. I've rejected my body for years. um, that's why I started to learn these tools. And I know a lot of you have also experienced copious amounts of physical and emotional pain. And many of you are healers. Caraway is studying to be an acupuncturist. And that's what led me into healing, into body work, into energy work, into sound healing, and into the work that I do was to heal myself. And so how can we, again, make these practices of self-healing, self-nurturing, self-care more and more a priority throughout the day, right? Like, even if it's for 5 minutes, how can I take time? Or even if it's for just 1 minute here of expressing this anger out, or pounding a pillow, or releasing this feeling, or communicating, or expressing what's in this shoulder that's hurting right now, is just really giving that permission, and giving and making that a priority. um, I am going to take a bold move and share. Someone said in the private message to me, I won't share who, but he said, I have a core wound. Again, when he heard the words, "I want to be seen," that's a core wound for me. I'm guessing, again, not being seen. And when I heard that, I burst into tears when it was said. Mm, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that in the private message to me, and just welcoming these tender parts of ourselves, as they, again, we start to give them voice, and we make it safe to express these wounds and to repattern them with utmost compassion and love. Okay, we're going to go into our next exercise. And again, this is another self-sourcing tool of really, again, grounding and centering and releasing, really, again, our lower chakras. I'm going to be working on the first and second chakra, of reorienting those channels to the earth. And so, again, often what happens is we're not in touch with those areas, and again, we're externalizing, we're reaching out, we're in fear, we're in protection, we're in doing, we're in all these things that are, again, sourcing outside of ourselves the best way we know possible. And what I want us to do is reorient our connection to our body and to the earth. And again, learning how to run energy out into the earth, source energy in and then source energy out to the earth. And there's a lot of different tools for this, a lot of different techniques. I'm sure you guys all have ninja tools that work for you. I am going to be working some tools. Again, take what works for you, let go of what doesn't. If I'm cueing something and you're somewhere else that's really nourishing you, go there. I always want you to listen to what's best for you and to trust your body. So if you'd like a little bit more sacred space, you can turn off your camera. But I'm going to be asking us to, again, sit back. And I'd really like to invite you, if you have a chair, if you could actually feel your back supported by the chair. I really want us to see how we can support our back. So if you are in a chair, to lean all the way back and to also feel your feet on the earth. So invite us to, again, feel our feet on the earth, feel the support in the back of our body. I'm almost like gonna cry right now just because I've had so much pain in my back. Just the idea of having like something supporting me behind me is really like already bringing up some tears for me. So just want to invite you to get into the most supportive seated posture and feel yourself close your eyes and breathe in your body again. Ah. And on your exhale, I just invite you to release on some sound. Ah. Allowing your body to soften toward the earth. Ah. Again, inviting any and all sensations. You might notice twitching in your body and or feelings, textures, colors. I just invite you to allow whatever's here, even if it might feel numb or you can't feel, you can welcome that. Just allowing your body to express itself however it wants to express itself. And I want to invite you to feel your feet on the ground. Feel your feet. Feel the connection to your feet. And I'd like you to imagine opening up or imagining opening up portals of energy right in the center of your foot. We call this kidney 1, the kidney channel in Chinese medicine. And just inviting or imagining that energy like roots moving down into the earth. And on each exhale, just releasing any and all tension all the way down your body, all the way down your feet. And just imagining that energy streaming down out your feet, out into the earth. Ah. And I'd also like to invite you to relax your jaw. Relax your jaw. And relax any and all tension in your body out, down, out your feet into the earth. Ah. And I'd like to invite you to bring some attention to your perineum, your anal area, your first chakra, and just see what you feel here. Is it tight? Is it constricted? Is it open? What do you need to open this area, to relax and bring some openness to your first chakra here? Ah, you are safe. And I'd like you to imagine a cord of energy, and this is a loving cord of energy connecting your first chakra, and imagining that cord moving down, 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 down through the earth, softening, releasing. Ah. And again, each exhale, imagining that anything that doesn't serve you, just descending down, out your first chakra, down into the earth. Ah. Sometimes I like to call this like an energetic drain. Everything is draining, releasing. You don't have to hold on to anything. Ah. Recognizing when the body is twitching or moving, it's simply releasing, it's healing, it's off-gassing energy. This is healthy. And inviting again back through your feet, back through up the cord to your first chakra. Any nourishing, loving energy, supportive energy from the earth. Mm. And I invite you to now bring your attention to your second chakra, which is your genitals. Often we hold a lot of guilt or fear or make wrong in these areas or protection. So bringing some breath and some loving energy, relaxing, opening your genitals. Ah. And even imagining what would it feel like to open and imagine a line of energy or a cord of energy going down into the earth. Ah. And releasing any fear, tension, stress, guilt, shame. And welcoming in a mother's energy, Mother Earth, which is loving, kind, supportive, abundant, nurturing. Ah. Ah. Now letting go of that, I invite you to think of a time where you were absolutely supported in nature. One of your favorite memories where you were abundantly held and in awe by the beauty of this incredible Pachamama. And just noticing where you go, where you are right now. Welcoming the images of what you see, what's around you. Welcoming in the beauty that's surrounding you. Taking that beauty inside your heart, your body. And just noticing when you're in this place how you're feeling. Welcoming those feelings. Even imagining maybe them growing right now inside of you. Noticing anything that you remember hearing, the sounds of nature. Remembering even the textures, maybe touching a tree or water, or feeling your feet in the sand. And just invite you to send your heartfelt appreciation to Mother Earth. Send your heartfelt appreciation for all the ways that she loves you. How can we let go of looking toward our mother or the feminine outside of ourselves for what we didn't get as children? And how can we reorient and look to getting our needs met from our true mother, Mother Earth, Gaia, who's always here holding us, giving us life, providing nourishment, giving us breath. And welcoming back into the earth, from the earth, perhaps anything that she would like to gift you, opening to receive her medicine, her wisdom. And coming back into your body in this present moment, feeling your feet connected to the earth. And just asking yourself, what do you need to feel complete from this meditation, visualization? Yeah, and giving that to yourself. And gently coming back, bringing some energy back into your body, perhaps slowly stretching, wiggling, moving your neck, whatever feels perfect. Welcome back. It's amazing when um, it's so different doing video work, instead of being in the same space together. So there's that part of me is like, is anyone still really here, like taking this in? Like, do people find this interesting? Like, there's all these like stories that are coming up. So I'm just wanting to be vulnerable. Like, are people still with me? Like, am I? So anyway, thank you for being there through that and going on that journey with me and with us. And I guess I just would love to open it up again to any sharings of anything that came up for anyone, maybe a tool that was useful or something that they noticed in their body or. Elia?
I actually am. This is something that I've been doing recently. Whenever I've been struggling lately with meditating, or with really just connecting with myself and grounding, and so I just every time I close my eyes, I couldn't settle. And I kept fighting and fighting and fighting and trying to force it. And one day I was sitting here and I just like decided like to pick up my, I don't know if you can see that, my onyx and my rose quartz and just hold them in my hands was like while I was meditating. And I don't know, it's probably just in my head, but it helped me stay grounded and focused. And so that was, I'm finding that when I'm using those, I go really deep and sometimes to the point where I'm uncomfortable, because it gets to a point where I'm actually like frightened, simply because it's new. And actually that was where I got with this tonight. I was really feeling very, very deep and actually almost to like a level of like hypnosis for like that level, and it scared me and I was just like, oh my gosh, I gotta get up. Like I have to run. I have to run away, and I made myself stay and continue listening, but just like, okay, I'm just like, I put the stones down and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to listen and I'm not going to like feel it right now, because it did get uncomfortable for me, I think purely because I'm not used to going that far into it. But thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for, again, being aware of those stones, using those as like anchor points and helping really you to feel grounded. And I want to say, yes, many of you might have stones or things that you hold on to. Even, doing this work, actually holding a tree or putting your back against a tree or all different kinds of things. I use tuning forks a lot, like grounding forks. So there's lots of tools that can help kind of implement us to feel that sense of connection. I also really want to appreciate your self-care of hitting that fearful spot and recognizing, oh, wow, that's an edge. And what I need for self-care right now is actually to back off. Some people could say, well, that's your next edge. Breathe through it, move through it, go deeper. You didn't do the right thing. I actually want to say, thank you for honoring yourself, in that it felt like it hit your edge and then you backed up and just was able to listen from a more neutral place. And I guess the inquiry of where I go is, what does that part of you have to say? What is that fear that's coming up, and making it safe for you to explore specifically what that fear is, and just to give it voice. I know for me, I have a really big fear of engulfment. So when I hit spots of intimacy or hit spots of like uncomfortability, I will go, oh, that's enough, and then go into protection of like fear of being controlled, fear of losing myself, fear of like being abducted into a weird place and not knowing how to get back. And so I just welcome you to make conscious and kind of get curious about what that fear is. And thank you. Anybody else want to share? Caraway.
I just loved how relaxing that was. I'm still recovering from the flu, so I let myself just lie down and like completely let go into the support, and my breathing just got so calm and relaxed, and it was just a big gift, because a part of, I think, being sick is having lots of uncomfortable feelings in my body and like not being able to rest well and not being able to really relax. And so I just really appreciate how soothing that felt.
Nice. Awesome.
Thank you.
I know too, we you and I have been talking about, again, that idea of like reorienting our belly, like, toward the earth, and like taking those cords of energy that can often like go out, like reorienting that to the earth. That's been a huge thing for me, is like, because the belly, right, is the umbilical cord to our mother. And often we didn't get the nurturing and the safety from our mother that we needed, even in utero, through her fears or her thoughts or how she was in survival, and then didn't get the love, the nurturance, the acceptance, the compassion as children. So how do we, again, reorient that deficiency, of looking toward it you know, toward the mother or our earth mom, and how do we reorient it to the earth? So
Yeah. And I think for me, there's just, especially in like the lower chakras, there's like just so much panic and like fear mode or like survival mode. And
mhm.
it's just so nice to think of that area as a nourishing place instead of like a place that has to contract to like survive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
thank you. Anybody else want to share? Anna Prabha, do you want to share? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah,
Oh, there you
yeah, I can. Yeah, I love. Well, right now I'm a bit of confinement because I fractured my ankle in 3 places. Moving a little too fast through life, I guess, and um, so I really enjoy, and I've really been into a lot of. I love meditating, so I love the depth, and I felt that I like the part where it was a perineum and the tube going down, I guess. Was that what you were saying? That seemed to like really be deflating, like in a really restful way, you know, and that was I liked that a lot, actually. That was very nice. And then the safe place it was nice journeying to my place where it's always kind of my safe places in India, where I lived in an elephant stable. The elephant wasn't there, yeah, but it was, you know, that was just really soothing and beautiful to experience that and to be there in that space again. So
go.
I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's you know, a lot of times we were like shamed in our private areas and in our genitals and our perineum. I want to vulnerably share that I had anal sex one time drunk when I was in my early 20s, and I got ripped. And so it took me almost 8 years to heal my perineum. And so it took a lot of work of like, and a lot of it was all the ways that I hadn't honored myself, and how I was giving myself over, and also the fear of survival of how constricted I was. And so just these areas like our genitals and our perineum, they can bring up a lot of like wounding and shame. And so how do we, again, really recognize like what's coming up, whatever it is, and just like love ourselves through that? And so I guess I just wanted to open up in that vulnerability, because some of you may have had noticed like things around your genitals or your perineum, or it's not okay to like feel that or go there. And so I just really want to make it safe, because a lot of times we've had trauma there, to again notice it and be gentle and kind to ourselves in those tender areas.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else feel compelled to share anything, insights or reflections? Okay. So it is 6:59, so we're gonna wrap up here. I guess I just would love to hear anybody that would like to share a takeaway. Like, what's something that you really feel that you're taking away from our time together that you really want to implement into your practice or into your routine or life? Elia?
Yeah, for me, I think it's the biggest takeaway is just being comfortable with whatever comes up for me, as you know, whether it's making sounds or moving my body. I did notice the last one, I had my camera on for most of it, and when I've done this before, if my camera was on, I was very conscious of, okay, I have to make sure that I'm, you know, like not doing anything that would be weird in any way. And so and being very still, and if I needed to like even cough, I'm like, quick, turn off my camera. You know, and just, so it was really nice to just allow my body to do whatever it was that it felt like it needed to do. And I didn't even open my eye, like before I'm like, is anybody looking? You know, like Like nobody else has their eyes open, right? Okay, I can do that. But this time I was just like, I don't care.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate when people are super vulnerable and transparent about like what's real for them. And yeah, I mean, that's what's so amazing about this is we get to see all the ways that we like hide or we are shy or we like hold back. And I'm really hearing like giving yourself more permission to be how you are and to be seen and expressive in what's alive for you and to again um, really encourage more of that to come out. Thank you. Scott, you want to share anything?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's all just twinkle Emily for all the amazing.
Mm.
I want you to take that in from the people whose cameras are on. Emily takes this stuff really seriously. She's been excited about it. She spent the afternoon preparing to teach the class, really tuning in. So, you know, I just love your depth of care.
Thanks.
And most of you are already registered for our upcoming Relationship Essentials course. But I want to really acknowledge that if you haven't already registered for it, it's our signature course. We've taught it 5 times before, and this time we have really expanded it from 8 weeks to 12 weeks and adding an extra practice group every week. And it's the last time that Emily and I are going to teach this course in the year 2018. We're going to take the summer off to travel and work on our videos, and then in the fall we'll be teaching the Relationship Mastery course. So I really want to encourage any of you that haven't registered for it. It's going to be amazing. And you're all friends, you're all people we know and love. Most of you are in the online portal by now. If you need to work out a payment plan, private message or call myself or Emily and we'll talk to you. The course starts on Saturday and it's going to be amazing. And I'm excited because I'm looking at so many of you that are already registered, and they're going to be in Molly and Anaprava, Elia, and many others. So I just really want to encourage that. And this is the last Wednesday night class that will be open to the public. After tonight, people have to either be part of the Relationship Essentials course or have previously taken one of our online courses or be a member of our online portal. So just wanted to say that. I also want to acknowledge the Monday night empathy practice groups that Anna is leading, and they're terrific. And again, you're all invited to come on Monday nights to the empathy practice group, as long as you're a member of the portal or have done one of our online courses.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. I would love to just maybe have a couple other takeaways. I didn't know you were going to go into that, Scott, but that's fine. So I'm just going to bring it back to the takeaways. Is there anybody else that would like to share a takeaway? Caraway?
Yeah, I had to unmute myself. One of the challenges in these kinds of meditations when I'm alone is that it can be harder to make a container. And so what was just coming to me thinking about like, what do I want to take away from this? What do I want to do? I think there's something about sharing it in community that can sort of last me for a while. And so I think just envisioning this container that we just created, like calling it back, is one of the things that I think might help me, and sort of remembering the sound of your voice and just remembering the faces of the people that were here that I saw, or I think those kinds of things can really help me to ground and to feel more like it's more anchored and it's more real and something I can actually feel and connect with. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I love that. I really love that. I think it's so beautiful. Just remembering this class, remembering the faces, remembering the sound of my voice. Like, it's just so beautiful again. And I think, again, the word that comes to mind is anchors, like having these really clear anchors that can bring us home, bring us into connection, help us to come back, love ourselves, make ourselves a priority. Okay, well, I'm just going to do like a minute or so kind of grounding of our containers. So I just invite you to take a couple deep breaths and come back in, collecting your energy back. And taking a moment, I'd love for you to celebrate yourself. What's something that you can really celebrate yourself for? It could be as simple as showing up tonight. It could be, wow, leaning into my edge when I felt uncomfortable, or stopping when I felt like it was too much. Often, self appreciation or self celebration can be seen as self absorbed or selfish or narcissistic from the outside world. So I just invite us to release those lies, release those untruths, those illusions back into the earth, or back into the light, back into the atmosphere, back into source. And I'd like you to take a moment and to really celebrate someone in this course. And maybe if you haven't already, you might even want to reach out to them on Facebook, or perhaps even on the chat box. But right now, just send your loving energy of gratitude toward them. And now I invite you to now open your heart and your body and your being, and just imagine the fruits of what you've gained tonight, your desires, those beautiful intentions that you called into our container, just spreading that out far and wide into your life and into far beyond our container, into blessing the people around you. May all beings be happy. May they be loved. May they be free. May they be healthy. Ashe, and so it is. Haush, haush, haush. May it be so. Thank you so much, everybody, for a beautiful night. Take care of yourself, enjoy your evening, and hope to see many of you on Saturday. Bye, everyone.